Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Soul Food Initiative. This is a project in collaboration with the McCoskey Center, and I'm Dr. Loudiy from the Department of Strategic Communication and Media at Slippery Rock University. So today, as we continue to explore the connection between food and culture, today I will be making what's called the tagine. So tagine is a typical Moroccan dish that people eat basically on a daily basis, and I will be making a chicken and zucchini tagine with some preserved lemon. So I'm going to start by chopping some onions. So first we need a couple of onions. So the chicken is already in the pot here. We're going to turn the stove on pretty high, and we're going to add my favorite Moroccan olive oil. So it's a little taste of home in a bottle. And actually the smell is very particular to Moroccan olive oil. So each country that produces olive oil and olives obviously has a particular flavor and smell associated with their, whoops, I'm making a mess. So we're going to put all of the onions here with the chicken and turn it pretty high. I'm gonna put about 4 cloves of garlic, and we're going to put these peppers. So I'm not quite sure what type of peppers these are, but they do look hot, so they serve the purpose. And actually I'm not going to even peel the tomatoes. I'm going to put them whole, and when they cook, the skin just comes off and the rest of the tomato becomes part of the sauce. First spice, or most important spice, is salt. So I just eyeball it. And I like to use sea salt, kosher sea salt. Ginger is a very, very important spice in Moroccan cooking, and it is a root that you grind to make this powder. It's very fragrant, and a little bit goes a long way. It's very nice. The other spice I'll be using that's very important to this dish is turmeric, and actually ginger and turmeric are both roots that are used in other types of cuisines, like Chinese cuisine, Indian cuisine. The next spice I'm going to add is coriander, and coriander is the ground form of cilantro, so I'm a little generous with that as well. Just a pinch of cumin. Then my favorite spice of all, it's saffron. And it is one of the most expensive spices because it's grown in just a few places around the world, including Morocco. So I'm going to close this and let it simmer. And now we're going to check these big zucchinis. I think I'm going to use just one of them. I've actually never seen zucchinis this big. The tagine is both a meal and a dish. And this lid right here is actually the top of a tagine. And it is a dish made out of clay, because Moroccan cooking used to happen on fire, like an open fire in a clay dish. So people used to just have a fire, make a fire, and then they put all their food in this tagine and just let it cook. So the chicken is starting to cook. I'm gonna check it out, see what's going on. Wow. All right, so I think my zucchini is ready. I'm going to put it in this dish. Put the zucchini on top. Hopefully they'll have enough space in the pot. Okay. Mission accomplished. All right. I'm going to turn the stove on so that the steam gets to the zucchini. So we have some tiramisu for dessert today. And I'm going to use some frozen blackberries to make a little sauce to go with the tiramisu. So it's interesting because when I was a kid, we did not have blackberries as they are here. We had like wild blackberries, but you could not buy them in the store or in the market. But now we have, you can, because they're not indigenous to Morocco, we had some wild berries, but now you can actually find all kinds of berries in Morocco. The one very, very common berry in Morocco is actually strawberries. So they're pretty common and very delicious. So I'm going to put some, let's see, we're going to put some cinnamon with our blackberries and some ginger. I think it's about time I taste the sauce just to make sure that the spices are just right. It's perfect. My spatula here for the blackberries, they're defrosting nicely. You can add some sugar if you want, or honey. I'm not very big on adding sugar to things, so I just like them natural. And these are some wild blackberries. Actually, they're smaller than your typical that you buy in the grocery store. So I would typically have also, in addition to coriander right here, the leaf version of it, which is cilantro, but I'm out of that, so I'm gonna use a little bit of parsley. They're very different herbs, but in Morocco we use a mix of cilantro and parsley in most dishes. Parsley is an herb that's very much used also in Italian cooking. So Morocco and Italy are not too far apart, and when I did my DNA, there's almost 20% of my DNA is Italian. Surprise. But Moroccan, I guess the cooking that's very much influenced by Italian cooking is Tunisian cooking. And Tunisia is a country, another country in North Africa. I lived there for a couple of years, and just like the Italian, they use a lot of tomatoes in their cooking. Their dishes are mostly red. And I was saying earlier that chicken is something universal that most cultures use as a meat. And one of the reasons, I think, it's because it's relatively cheap. And when families don't have a lot of money to feed their children, if they have a large family, chicken is an easy way to get protein for a large family, and it does not cost as much as red meat or even fish. This chicken is resistant coming up, but all right. Okay, so we're gonna let it cook a little bit longer. And I think maybe it's time to start thinking about plating. So in Morocco, we use bread a lot to eat. The Tagine people dip the bread in the sauce. So typically there is like homemade bread. It's kind of around, it's not like quite like pita bread, it's a little thicker, but since there's no Moroccan bread here, and we do eat a lot of baguettes, so I'm gonna cut some of the baguettes to use with the tagine. And people can make sandwiches or just, you know, eat the meat and then dip the bread in the sauce. When I was growing up in Morocco, in Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco, so every day my mom or dad would stop at the bakery on their way home from work to get some fresh bread. A typical thing in Morocco to get fresh bread daily from the boulangerie, which is the bakery. Every neighborhood has its own bakery, and they make bread, I think, 3 times a day, in the morning, and lunch, and in the evening. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. And I'm going to take the lid off so that some of the sauce, as you can see, there's a lot of sauce here. And you want that sauce to reduce a little bit. So I think I'm going to take the chicken out and just let the zucchini have more of this space to finish cooking. Okay, so the chicken is done. So now we're gonna wait a couple minutes for the zucchini. Okay, so some zucchini and some sauce.